Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome to my review for It Chapter 2. This movie was directed by Andy Muschietti, the director of It Chapter 1, and it is the sequel to It Chapter 1, which was released in 2017. And this movie is also based on the book written by Stephen King. And this movie picks up where It Chapter 1 left off, with the Losers Club, now adults, returning to Derry to fulfill the promise that they made 27 years ago, to kill it once and for all. And before we get into the actual review, I'd like to tell you all that all throughout the month of September, I'll be reviewing movies based on the work of everyone's favorite Maine lobster, Stephen King. I've already covered It from 1990 and It Chapter 1. The playlist link will be in the eye in the right-hand corner. But for right now, let's get into It Chapter 2. This was one of my most highly anticipated movies for the remainder of 2019. I was so looking forward to this movie. I was looking forward to how the same people who had started it were going to finish it. And I can safely say that there is a lot to enjoy about this movie. But I don't think that's what the filmmakers intended. Unquestionably, It Chapter 2 is one of the most unintentionally hilarious movies I have seen in a very long time. There are some quality elements. This movie isn't entirely without merit, but the problems that existed in It Chapter 1 are magnified in It Chapter 2. Let's talk about the good news first. The Losers Club. They're all great. The standouts for me were James McAvoy as Billy, Jessica Chastain as Beverly, and Bill Hader as Richie. Those three were by far the most compelling out of all of the members of the Losers Club. With a special emphasis on Hader. I've never really been a big fan of this guy, but he made me a fan with this performance because every line that he said was just laugh out loud funny. I also really liked Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. He wasn't on screen very often. I think maybe just to build up the mystique of Pennywise, not show him right away. But when he was on screen, you definitely knew he was there. And he was having the time of his life, just like he did with It Chapter 1. Now let's get on to the bad news. Starting with the length. This movie is 2 hours and 49 minutes long. And it absolutely did not have to be. Now, I'm sure that the argument will be made that It, the actual book, is pretty much as thick as a brick. So you gotta wrap up literally everything, and that's gonna take time. I understand that. I've sat through 3-hour movies in the past, and I've come out on the other side just fine. Avengers Endgame and Silence by Martin Scorsese come to mind. However, this movie just meanders in all the wrong places. The movie reaches a certain point where the gang splits up. And when the gang splits up, that's when this movie goes from a pretty steady pace to then it drops off the earth. Say what you will about the 1990 version of it, but at least that version had the gang all together for pretty much the entire time. And the side quests between each individual member of the Losers Club was handled far more efficiently than in It Chapter 2. I'm not a script writing genius or anything, but I think that the scenes were put in there to try and re-establish the characters, but we were already attached to these characters anyway because they were portrayed so well in It Chapter 1. So, in the end, for the most part, they were kind of entirely pointless. But I can sit through a movie that's too long and just kind of shrug it off. What makes this movie stand out in my mind is just how unintentionally hilarious it is. And like I said, I don't think that's what the filmmakers intended. And then there are the scares. At least in It Chapter 1, there were a few scenes where they really did stay with you and they were terrifying. In this movie, they were hilarious. Without giving anything away, let's just say that there were 4 occasions, and I counted them, 4, where I was about to fall out of the theater seat because I was laughing that hard. Again, without giving anything away, the ending is pretty bad. Like, it was a head scratcher. It really was. Normally in my reviews, I try to give every movie I see a rating, But in all honesty, I don't think I can give this movie a rating. I was originally thinking, oh, that was a good movie. You know, it had its hilarious moments that I don't think were put in there. And it was too long, but at the same time, there was the Losers Club in there, and they were all excellent. And there were some legit scary moments. But I don't know if I can actually give it a good rating, because that would mean that I would be recommending it. And I don't know if I can do that. I can recommend the movie in a so bad it's good kind of way, but at the same time, this movie is nowhere close to like a Room or a Freddy Got Fingered, where it's so hypnotizingly bad that it's suddenly amazing. This movie was very well made for the most part, and the actors are legitimately trying to give good performances. I don't know, my brain is hurting. I'm just not going to give it a rating. I'm just going to leave it as it is and leave it up to you. I have a feeling that there will be people that love this movie and there will be people that hate it. Either way, I respect you. It Chapter 2, by a large margin, is definitely one of the more puzzling movies I have seen all year. But that's all for me, guys. Thank you so much as always for watching. Stephen King Month will continue with my reviews for Misery and for The Shawshank Redemption. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.